Hi, welcome to Priestess Entrepreneur Kitchen Conversations. I'm Cindy Morris, your host. What is a priestess entrepreneur? Priestess entrepreneur is a woman who combines a courage and vision of the entrepreneurial spirit with the intuitive wisdom of the divine feminine. Today, I have a wonderful priestess entrepreneur with me, Iris Lee. She is the executive director of Dreamcatcher Direct Instruction Centers with its nonprofit partner Legacy of Learning. So welcome, Iris, to my kitchen.
Thank you.
And let's talk about Dreamcatcher. What do you do? Tell me about your business and what do you got going over there?
I love that question because on the outside it looks like we teach basic academic skills to learners of all ages, from 5 to adults and then some. And but actually what we really do is we change the dynamics of a person in need. We have a ripple effect on the world, one by one person at a time, because when a person feels their self-esteem and confidence grow through education, for the fact that they can read, they can write, they can spell, they can do math, they're not left by the curb. They are in the world, and that's what we really do. We change dynamics of people and their families.
Love that work. I love it.
So do I.
It's so important. Tell me about the name Dreamcatcher. How did you come to get involved with this? Because you did not create this yourself, correct? You kind of stepped into it.
Correct.
So tell me how that all evolved.
I've been the director of Dreamcatcher for 12 years. Oh, actually going on 13, and the program director for Legacy of Learning for 12. Margot Barnhart, who was a superintendent of schools, among many other positions in her life.
Here in Boulder?
No, she was actually a superintendent in Summit County, but she does live in Weld County. She basically got frustrated from going to the top of the educational ladder and feeling that she really wasn't able to make a difference in a child's life anymore.
Because she got caught up in the bureaucracy?
The bureaucracy and the politics, and she wasn't able to touch a child's life, and she got frustrated. And so she decided to take it to the streets. She researched all of the models of education that are out there, including all the franchises and all the other companies that do tutoring, and she found that none of them met her criteria. So she found that this model of education called direct instruction, which has actually been around since 1963, was the best one. It's been in over 3,000 studies since the 60s that prove its efficacy. And Margot decided to find a way to bring it to the people.
Well, what is it? What is direct? Why is it different then?
The reason that direct instruction is so different from all the other models is it's actually been researched and proven to work in these many studies since the 60s, because the main tenets, the main philosophies of DI, direct instruction, I'm going to use DI, which is short for direct instruction, is that all children can learn successfully when taught carefully. And if the student hasn't learned it, the teacher hasn't taught it, period. That's the tenets. So anytime the students didn't get the information, was Mr. Engelman, who created the DI model, said, let's go back and figure out how we can explain things different, how we can teach things different so kids can get it. It's always on the teacher to do the communications, and he feels that teaching is accelerated, learning is accelerated. Learning is accelerated when kids are less likely to make misinterpretations on the material they've learned. So it's very solid learning. We go to mastery in each lesson. There are mastery tests that are built into the program so that a child is constantly being knowing that he can do it. It's a review, and there's preparation for the material to come, and so that's one thing. It's also very highly interactive. There's a great demand on the student to perform. It's not a quote equal type of relationship. The teacher is the teacher, the student is the student. And so that's kind of old-fashioned.
And it works.
And it works. And it totally works. And so what happens with the DI program is there's a highly interactive, multi-sensory, systematic, structured approach to teaching.
So, in other words, a child may not learn the way another child learns. Perhaps they're more visual,
correct,
or another child's more
auditory. Correct. And what the DI program does is it involves all of that It is the same program that we use for every child, and we've had a 98% success rate. It's the same program. It's just paced different. So the fluency and the accuracy and the comprehension that we work with is paced a little bit different so that the child can do it at his own pace.
Right.
And we start at different levels. So we start where it's easy, exactly where the child is at. We meet them where they're at. We start
With no
there.
judgment.
No judgment.
No judgment.
No judgment.
This is just
We've
where
got
it's at.
14-year-old kids reading at a first grade level. We have a senior who's charmed her way through school and let everybody else do the work for her, who's reading at a 6th and 7th grade level, and reading and spelling and math. She's with us, and she's already now up to a 10th, almost 10th and 11th grade level in her subjects. And the kids who have those survival skills, the charmer, the arrogant,
Yes.
the person who is, the sullen, the weary, the victim, the person who is the know-it-all, the apathetic. These are all survival skills. We've had them, you've had them, I've had them, we've all had them.
Of course.
But the difference is that when they start to really know that they are good enough as they are and they can learn, and they can read, all that stuff falls away. So the kids
this is like, to me, I hear this is like revolutionary.
It is.
Because to teach a person exactly where they're at and to help them achieve success in learning, they're no longer part of a herd, part of kind of a group mentality, but they understand then that they're individually responsible for learning, and they're also capable of learning.
Correct. We try to help them become autonomous.
Incredibly empowering.
It is.
Beautiful.
It is totally the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life.
Okay, so let's go back to Margot.
Okay. Her name is Dr. Margot Barnhart, and she's very special to me. She's a mentor to me.
She's your mentor.
She's a mentor to me, and she's been in the education field for 50 years. She's now actually at CSU in charge of the entire early education literacy program.
Colorado State, in
Correct.
Fort Collins.
In Fort Collins, correct.
Okay.
I love her dearly. That's where she is now. And so she took this, she studied and researched different models of education. She found out that DI had come out ahead in all of the studies, especially the biggest one, which was called Project Follow Through. And I need to tell you about this one
Tell me about
this is a
Project
little
Follow Through.
subversive. We're a little controversial
Oh,
here.
good.
Yeah,
Oh, good. That's why it works.
Yeah, really. That's true.
Yeah.
In 1978, results were tabulated by the Stanford Research Institute, Associates, of Stanford University in California. And this was after years and years and years of testing and working with children in over 170 different sites in the country, in hundreds of thousands of children and millions of dollars. And the 9 models of education at the time were put against each other, worked with each, I don't know if it was against or with, the 9 models of education.
Kind of tested. They were tested. What's working?
What's working.
What's not
that's
working.
right. And they were tested, the 9 models of education, direct instruction was one of them. And after all these years, DI came out ahead in every single area. Effective, how people put their information out in the world, cognitive, academic, ESL, self-esteem, came out ahead of everything. And some of the programs stayed the same, some of them actually did not help a kid at all, were in the negative. And the U.S. Department of Education was just opened, and under the Nixon administration, they looked at the results and they did not disseminate them. They just refused to put it out to the public, saying, here is a methodology that could really teach to all.
Right.
Because really, Cindy, we teach to the middle. We do not teach to all. We have, in Boulder County, I have to say, there are very good programs for the developmentally delayed and for the kids who are talented and gifted.
Right.
But across the country, nationally, there aren't. And so public schools are really there to weed people out, not to teach to all. We don't have good programs on either end.